Welcome to Gentle Yoga. Today we're going to need a strap or a belt, a block, and a chair. And to begin, we're going to sit down on our chair. Have your feet flat on the floor, palms on thighs. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and just tune in to how you're feeling. Notice your mood. What kind of sensations do you notice in your body right now? And then anchor your mind to one particular sensation, like maybe the sensation of your palms touching your thighs or your feet touching the floor. Just honing in on one spot in the body and resting your mind on that sensation. And then see if you can continue to focus on the sensation and deepen your breath. Until your breath feels like it's flowing pretty spaciously. Now you're also resting your mind on the sensation of breathing while resting your mind on the one sensation in your body that you picked earlier. We'll just take a few breaths like that. And then placing your hands on your heart, stacking one hand over the other, and just welcoming yourself to your practice, your whole self, how you're feeling, body, mind. And then releasing the hands, lift your gaze or open your eyes. I'd like you to lift your right foot off the floor and just start to roll the right ankle. Going both directions. So the whole leg's stationary, you're just warming up the ankle. And then a slow point and flex of the foot. Reaching through the heel. And then release the right foot to the floor. And a couple different ways you can do this. You could just step your right foot back behind you. We're going to try to stretch out the front of the right thigh. Or if you have no armrests on the chair, you might be able to sit side saddle and step the foot back. I'll just show you to demo. And so my right leg is hanging off the chair. My left leg, my left glute is supported by the chair. And I'm really activating both glutes as I bring the ball of my right foot to the floor. Having the knee kind of over or directly underneath the hip can be a nice place to start, drawing the tummy in, and maybe even almost as if I was going to ask you to press your feet down in the floor and slightly curl your tailbone underneath you so that the stretch goes a little bit stronger into the front of the right thigh. We'll just take one or two more breaths there. Good, and then step the right foot forward. You're gonna sit regular style in the chair if you're not already, and kick the right heel forward. Right leg is straight, left knee is bent, and the left sole of the foot's on the floor, and you're just gonna lean forward and stretch out the back of the right leg. Let me see that goes. Yeah, like so. And I'm leaning on left thigh. Maybe peeling the toes of the right foot back a little bit more. And then placing right foot on the floor next to left, and just notice left and right side. So we do a little bit more movement today. Can be so helpful for burning off a little bit of stress. It's nice to warm up the body as we do this. So lift the left leg and then roll the left ankle. So it's good to warm up the body before we start moving more. Can you sit up nice and tall as you're doing this? Both directions with the circles. And then slow flex and point of the foot, flex and point. Go nice and easy on yourself if you know you tend to cramp. And reaching through the heel. And left foot to the floor. We're going to open up the front of the left thigh, so maybe side saddle. As you step the left foot back, if you can do that with this chair, I think you could certainly do it just sitting on the edge of the chair too. Left knee pointing towards the floor best you can as you tone the tummy in and slightly tilt the front of your pelvis towards your face as you press that back foot into the floor. Notice the quality of your breath and engage both glutes. Let's take about one more round of breath here. Good, and then step left foot forward. Extend left leg in front of you. Now the left leg is straight, and you're just gonna lean forward, reaching through that left heel, peeling the left toes back so you get a stretch in the calf. You might feel it in the hamstring too. Let your belly soften here, and as you inhale, feel it expand into your thighs. As you exhale, releasing anything you don't need right now. Any stress, any tension. And with your next inhale, come on up. And now just noticing left and right side. And we'll come on up to stand. Go ahead and bring the chair to the top edge of your mat, seat facing you. And we're just going to do kind of a lazy forward fold. So both toes are pointing forward. Bend the knees a little bit. And then rest your forearms on the seat of the chair. Let your head just dangle in space if it can. And so I encourage you to bend your knees and be sure you bend your knees if you're having tension in the low back. Feel all corners of the feet press into the floor. Almost imagine that you're making an imprint in the mat with your feet. And keeping your spine pretty long. Extend your hips a little higher towards the sky, potentially increasing the stretch. Pressing the ball mound of both feet into the floor, maybe starting to feel the arches of your feet lift a little bit. You could play around with shifting the weight of your body from one foot to the other, just noticing the sensations that occur. And sometimes the tendency is to be a little bit more heavy in the balls of the feet here. I want you to get a little bit more heavy in the heels. One more round of breath here. Good, and then bend those knees. Let's roll up one vertebrae at a time. Coming on up to stand, mountain pose. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, please go ahead and do that. Maybe think of one word if that represents something you want more of in your life, like joy, peace, strength. And then bringing your palms together in front of your heart, inhaling your intention for yourself, exhaling it out to the planet. Do that twice more. Good. Go ahead and release the hands. You can move the chair a little off the mat here. And I encourage you to have your block in front of you. We're going to stand here and we'll do a few half sun salutations. If for whatever reason going up and down is like not a good idea for you, if you've got vertigo, go ahead and hang out maybe in a forward fold or maybe arms up overhead, whatever resonates with you. And then once again, beginning with the palms together in front of your heart, mountain pose. Exhale completely. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up, reach up. Exhale, swan dive down, let the knees slightly bend. Maybe fingertips touch the block or the floor, whatever is best for your body today. And then on the inhale, walk your hands up to your shins and come halfway up. Extend your spine forward. Exhale, fingertips back to the block or the floor. On the inhale, reach up, stand up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Weight of the body in the heels. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, palms together. Good. I'd like you to do that on your own twice more. And you can imagine as you inhale, inhaling your intention for yourself, exhaling your intention out, giving it to every being on this planet. We'll meet with our hands together in front of our heart. Pause for a few rounds of breath in mountain pose. Excellent. And then I'd like you to grab your block and just slide it between the thighs, just above the knees. So your feet are going to have to part a little bit wider. That's totally fine. If you don't have a block at home, that's cool. You don't have to have it. This can be kind of nice to help the knees track and stay tracking forward as we move in and out of a chair pose. So on an inhale, you're going to bend the knees and then sweep the arms forward. Exhale, standing back up again. Inhaling, rear goes back behind you. Exhaling, standing. Good, keep moving with your breath. Now, how low you go just depends on how your knees are feeling today. You could just do like a little boop, just a tiny one, that's totally fine. Generally, we want our kneecaps tracking in the same direction as our of this as the space between our second and third toe. So forward. Okay, I'd like you to keep either moving in and out of chair pose with your breath, or if you're looking for a little bit more strength today, you can stay in chair pose for the next 3 breaths if you like, right? So you could just stay breathing. Maybe the arms want to come up over whatever your practice is today, or maybe if you're feeling kind of sensitive in the knees, you could just move in and out still. You got about 2 more breaths. And then you're going to grab your block if you have it and fold forward. Hands can rest on that block or fingertips to the floor. Gaze between the knees. Let your head hang. And please let those knees bend a little bit. Imagine your trunk just kind of like a waterfall flowing down towards the floor. Soften the tongue, soften the face, and then just notice where you're placing the weight of your body and your feet. Move it around. Maybe move the weight into an area of the foot that tends to be a little light in forward folds. Okay, bend those knees. Slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. And coming on up to mountain pose. Feel your breath. Bring your hands to your hips. Step your right foot back behind you, and you can let the back heel come up a little bit. And we're just going to stretch out a little bit more in the front of the right hip. So you want to square your hips and shoulders towards the top edge of your mat. Keep the belly in. Now, if you feel a little bit unsteady on your feet, please turn the chair around. You can hold the back of the chair if you need. Engage your glutes as you extend the right leg a little bit further back behind you. One more round of breath here. And then step forward. Mountain pose. Exhale, arms alongside the body. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, hands together in front of your heart. Take a breath in of your intention and breathe your intention out. Hands to hips. You're going to step your left foot straight back. Back heel will be up. How far the foot goes doesn't really matter. What does matter is your tummy drawing in? Do you feel supported in the back as you do this? You're lengthening the tailbone towards the floor and engaging the glutes. Maybe holding the back of the chair if you need. And imagine, what would it look like if you could embody your intention in this pose? Right? So if it was like joy, would it be like maybe you're smiling as you're doing this pose? On your next exhale, step forward, mountain pose. Arms alongside the body. With an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And with an exhale, fold forward. Fingertips can touch the floor or a block. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Good. Bend those knees. Let's roll on up. Head's the last thing to come on up. And then you straighten those knees. Mountain pose. Let's come on over to that chair. Have the seat of your chair facing you. Front legs of the chair are going to be on the mat. And I want you to take a wide stance here. Your one foot will be close to the chair. Let's see if I can directionally cue this. Let's see how it goes. And then the foot that's closest to the chair, I want you to turn it out. The foot that's furthest from the chair, you're going to turn it in. So you've got an internal spiral of the back leg, external of the front. And then swing your hips away from the chair as you bring bottom hand to the chair. Yes, we are going into triangle pose, right hand to hip. And I'd like you to really focus on in this pose, even if you can bring your hand to the floor, I want you to focus on spinal extension. So be most interested in how can I get the bottom rib cage really long in addition to the top rib cage. Pressing through the ball of both feet, the heel of both feet. And maybe leaning the head and heart back a little bit. You almost want to, you can imagine, I know people are like, oh, like you're up against a wall in this pose, right? It's okay if the top hip is coming forward a little bit, that's okay. But maybe like the back of your heart and your bottom, like your lower butt cheek, is like they're on more of the same plane. And then maybe you want to add the arms. You can reach that right arm up towards the sky if that feels good. Let's take maybe one more round of breath. You could turn the head to look at that hand if that feels like a good choice, or maybe just gazing forward. And then you're going to bend your left knee, bring your right hand, your top hand back to your hip, and pause here for a breath. Take a look at your bottom, the knee that's closest to the chair. Make sure that it's bent over that heel. And yes, we're doing a variation of side angle pose. This might be plenty for you, feeling a nice length in the front of the hip. If you like, you could reach that top arm back up again, or maybe bicep by ear. You are really supporting the weight of your body with your legs, less so with the hands, but please use that seat of that chair if that's going to keep you up off the floor. One more round of breath here. And then inhaling, come on up. And both toes point forward. Excellent. And then we'll just set the feet together and do second side. So I'm going to just move my chair around. Here we go. So second side, your feet are on a tight rope, like the heels generally, or the front heel and the arch of the back foot. You're going to turn the one toe closest to the chair out, back foot, toes turning in. That's supporting the internal spiral of the back leg and the external of the front. Reach for that chair. Ooh. Right hand to hip, right, the hand comes to the seat of the chair. Just kidding, I'm doing directional. And really press all corners of the feet into the floor. Please keep your top hand on your hip as you inquire, how can I get the most length on both sides of my trunk? Really extending the spine. And then remember that the neck is part of the spine as well, right? So it's almost like you're reaching the skull out of the heart. The heart is reaching out of the navel, out of the waist. And maybe you want to reach that top arm up. Maybe that feels good. Imagine so one of your glutes is going to be a little lower than the other. So your lower one, this one, I'd like you to imagine it's on the same plane as the back of your heart. As you lift and extend, maybe turning the head to look at that top hand if that feels healthy. Good, and then bring the left hand, the top hand to your hip, bend the knee closest to the chair. And just check here. Things that tend to happen is maybe the knee crumbles forward. You want to continue to put weight on the outer edge of this foot, as well as externally rotating this thigh bone. Imagine you had a little sticker on the inner thigh and you're trying to twirl that sticker up towards the ceiling. Root down through both feet, really pressing in the floor. If you like, maybe top arm up, maybe bicep by ear. What really completes this pose? And perhaps maybe there is a variation of this pose that is a good expression of your intention for practice today. We'll take one more round of breath. And then come on up. Both toes turn to the top edge of your mat. And fold forward. Please feel free to grab a block to touch. If you need a block in this forward fold, you'll gaze between the knees. Let your head just hang. Breathing some spaciousness into the back body. Once again, your trunk is like a waterfall tumbling towards the floor. And it's the strength of your legs that's supporting this. We'll be here for just a couple more breaths. I want you to imagine that I glued your feet to the mat. They can't move, but I want you to activate the muscles that would allow your feet to slide together so that inner thighs kind of fire up, somewhere deep in the hips start working. Imagine you're just trying to unglue those feet, sliding them together. Keep releasing the top of the head towards the floor. One more round of breath. And then bending the knees a little bit, you'll bring your hands to your hips and slowly come heel toe, those feet together. Bring the palms together in front of your heart. Rest your eyes on something that is eye level in front of you. So you're gazing at it, but you're not really like looking. You're like almost like you're allowing your eyes to soften and just receive the stimuli of whatever it is in front of you that is eye level. Shift the weight of your body to your right foot and slowly lift the left heel, swinging the left knee open. Now, you may stay here in tree pose, pushing that right foot into the floor. Excellent place to be. If you can do this and not hold on to anything, great. If you have to hold on to something to do this, don't do it, right? So just stay here if this is where you're at. But if you can slide the foot up to under the knee or above the knee, great. Go ahead and do it. But only do it if you can do it hands, no handsies. And squeeze the foot into that inseam of the leg. And then, of course, if you'd like to reach the arms overhead, well, how could you best embody your intention here? I did joy, so I'm like, I don't know, it's a joyful arm expression. Good, and then release the feet to the floor, palms together. Once again, gaze at something eye level, receive the stimulation or the stimuli coming in, allow it to be received. And then shifting the weight to the opposite foot, swinging open. And some things to consider here as you move into your variation of tree pose, whatever Vrikshasana is the right Vrikshasana for you today. Balance becomes really hard if you lock your knee. Balance becomes hard if your toes are turning a different direction than the kneecap, right? So if my standing foot was turned out a lot and I was trying to get my kneecap to point forward, that would cause some problems with my balance. So just check in with your foundation if balance is an issue. Do about 2 more breaths on the side. Really a lot of strength. Pushing down into the floor to lift up, rise up out of the waist. On your exhale, release. Mountain pose, arms alongside the body. Just notice. Keep the feet wide. And slightly bend the knees. We're going to do a Tibetan heart yoga pose called tiger butterfly. And you just basically kind of little twists, hitting your body with your arms. Now, how much you twist, you could lift opposite heel as you twist away. You could keep the heels on the floor if you like. Just kind of dispersing the energy here, releasing. Maybe head turns same direction you're twisting. Letting the body just be kind of pelted by your arms. Good, and then slowing down and stopping. You'll come to stand at the front of your mat, pose, feet are about hips width distance apart. Stepping your left foot straight back behind you. This time we'll come into a warrior one variation. The back toes are slightly turned out, the front toes are pointing forward. And on a exhale, front knee is going to straighten. So both legs are straight, arms are going to be alongside the body. On an inhale, you're going to bend the front knee and reach for the sky. On the exhale, front leg straightens, swing your arms down. Just keep moving like that with your breath, and really anchored through the outside edge of the back foot. There's a lifted quality in the inner arch of your back foot. I encourage you to really slow the breath down, potentially pausing between the inhale and exhale. Between the exhale and inhale. So the top and the bottom of the breath, feel the pause. The belly's pulling in. Next time you come into it, you'll pause there. Now maybe the arms are overhead. You're welcome just to bring the palms in front of your heart. If the stretch feels too strong with the arms overhead, please lengthen your tailbone towards the floor and draw your tummy in strong. One more big breath in. On the exhale, arms alongside the body and step forward. Mountain pose, notice. Second side. Right foot steps back. So the feet are about hips width distance apart, east and west, lengthwise, just depends on how open the front of that right hip is. Squaring the hips and shoulders to face the front of the mat. And then arms alongside the body, front knee bent. On an inhale, reach the arms up. On the exhale, arms down, front legs straightens. Continue to move, keeping awareness in that back foot. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, right? So anchor down through the outer edge of that back foot. Keep lifting through the arch of that back foot as well. Eventually relishing in the pause at the top of the breath and the pause at the bottom of the breath. Pulling the belly in here is key if you are feeling sensitive in the low back as you reach the arms up overhead. Pulling that low belly in and lengthening the tailbone towards the floor. And then we'll pause for a few rounds of breath. Maybe arms are overhead, maybe the palms are together in front of your heart. Take care of yourself and embody your intention. One more round of breath here. With the exhale, arms come down, step forward, mountain pose. Good. We're gonna come on to the back, onto our backs now. Do have your strap nearby. Do have your block handy too as well. Okay, so settling onto your back, knees bent, feet on the mat. Walk the feet as wide as the mat and let the inner thighs touch. Feet wide, knees and thighs narrow. Bring your hands to your belly. Let your belly soften. The inhalation, expanding the belly into the hands. The exhalation, letting it drop towards the floor just naturally. If you're able to let the belly inflate on the inhalations, that's working out for you, you can move your hands now to the waist as well. And imagine, see, can you feel the waist expand as you inhale? Naturally, just kind of sink towards the floor as you exhale. And then even sliding the hands a little bit towards the low back, towards the mat. Of course, you're not going to get those fingers under there, right? Because your back's on the mat. But just so you can really feel the circumference of your waist, including your low back, expands as you inhale. Feel it soften as you exhale. This can be a really nice practice to do to help relax your nervous system, to help release tension in the low back. It's simply um, letting the belly soften and very intentionally doing some diaphragmatic breathing. If you have a sandbag or something at home you put on your belly, that can be helpful too. And then you'll walk your feet together. Or about, no, let's actually have them about hips width distance apart. You're going to locate your block. And then I'm going to have you push up into bridge and slide the block underneath your pelvis. I encourage you to keep your gaze on the ceiling as you do this. And we want the block on its lowest setting below the low back. So you have a nice wide foundation for the back of the pelvis, the heavy bone that your legs are plugged into. And just pausing here in this supported bridge pose. If the knees are really splaying out quite a bit as you do this, can you see if you can keep the thighs parallel so you might get to enjoy a bit more of a quad stretch? And then you're going to draw your right knee into your chest. Maybe you hold the back of the thigh, or if it's accessible, you could hold the shin. And here I'd like to kind of scoop your tail. So lengthening the tailbone towards the front of your mat. And then start to straighten the left leg. Pull your tummy in as you do this. Straighten left leg. And then reach that left leg away from the block, reaching through the heel. Let the leg kind of hover above the mat. So this is a bit more active now. You're straightening that left leg. It's maybe an inch or two above the mat, hovering as you peel the left toes towards the kneecap. Reach, reach, reach. Hopefully getting a nice deep stretch inside the left hip. top of the left hip. And then relax the left leg towards the floor. You're going to bend the left knee and start to slide the left foot towards the block again. So now return to our beginning position, supported bridge pose. Both knees are bent, feet are on the floor. And we'll do the second side. So it's kind of an active psoas stretch, an active front of the hip flexor, the hip flexor stretch. So left knee into the chest, lengthen your tailbone towards the front of the mat. Tummy's going to draw in here as you straighten right leg and hover it just a few inches above the floor. Reach through that right heel. Reach, reach, reach. Toes are peeling back. Imagine that someone like tied a string to your low belly, like the inside of your low belly, just below the navel, and then they kind of stitched it back and they're pulling the low belly towards the back. Reaching through the right leg, reach, 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 and then relax the right leg towards the floor, let the knee bend, and slowly slide the right foot back towards a bridge position, right? And the left foot's gonna meet it. There it is. Here we are in bridge, supported bridge rather. And then push the feet into the mat, lift the hips, we'll remove the block and bring the back of the pelvis to the floor. And just taking a moment, noticing the sensations of your body. Grab a hold of your strap and lasso your right foot, reaching the heel towards the sky. And do your best to try to keep your hips and shoulders kind of square. Sometimes that right hip will kind of reach up towards the right shoulder. Extend the right hip away from the right shoulder if that's happening. Keep length in both sides of the waist. Reaching up through that heel. And if the leg is quite tight, like maybe the knees bent, I'd like you to lower the leg, straighten the knee best you can. So maybe the leg's on like a diagonal, and then reach it towards the sky, and then just stop when you start to feel like a healthy stretch. So not like the most intense sensation. So you're breathing and you're like, yeah, I'm enjoying this edge. This feels healthy. And then from here, you're going to pass the strap to the right hand. Straighten your bottom leg. Imagine you're standing on it, like we're doing tree pose or something. You're going to swing the right leg open. Swinging it open. Now, you'll notice that my right leg is pretty far off the floor. I'm really engaging the muscles of my leg here as I very actively reach the inner thigh, the inner ankle of that right leg away from the groin. And both sides of my pelvis are equally on the mat. Using some core strength here to do that. So please don't let your right leg collapse to the floor. Finding that balance between the ease and the effort. Ease of the breath. There's some effort to keep the leg up. And then we'll swing the leg back up towards the sky. Pass the strap off to the left hand. And the right thumb, give me like a thumbs up here. And then you're going to dig the right thumb into the crevice that is created by where your leg plugs into the hip, right? So to your hip crease, plug it in there. And then can you wrap the outer right hip away from your face as you just bring the leg, just maybe even a few inches across the body so you feel a stretch in that IT band area. And again, the key is lengthening the right side trunk as you do this. So this wrapping of the outer right hip is going to help keep the length and keep the stretch in that outer right hip. And stay here as you inhale your intention for you and exhale your intention, sending it out to everybody on the planet and the planet itself. Good. Go ahead, bring the leg back up. You're going to bend your bottom knee, release the strap from the foot. And let's come into reclined pigeon pose. So we're figure four legs, got the ankle on top of the knee. Here, maybe you just grab that left thigh, pull it in. Maybe you slide a block under that bottom foot and just enjoy yourself as you flex the top foot. Hopefully this is enjoyable. Or you can hold the back of the left thigh, maybe the top of the left shin. Let's take a few more breaths here. Swinging the right knee open like a book. And then go ahead and release. Both feet are on the mat and just take a moment noticing the left and right side. Let's do the second side. Lasso the left foot, extending the heel towards the sky. And ensure that the left hip is lengthening towards the front of the mat so that both sides of the waist feel long. And if the back of the leg feels pretty constricted, you'll lower the leg, keep it straight, and then start to lift and stop when you feel a stretch, right? And so that might mean, hey, maybe this is your stretch. Totally fine, totally cool. And here you can just let your belly soften. There's really no reason for it to be active in this pose right here. Notice the muscles of your face. Can you soften them? And then you're going to straighten your bottom leg, your right one. Imagine you're standing on that bottom leg. And here, now we'll pull our tummy in. Strap goes to the left hand as you slowly sweep the left leg out to the left. Kind of trying to pull the left foot towards you as it swings open. Lots of strength in the leg. Both legs are really reaching away from the body. Your left elbow can bend. It just kind of prop up that strap on the floor with the bent elbow. Reaching through the heel. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then swinging the leg vertical and across the body, maybe an inch, maybe two, maybe more. But take your hitchhiker thumb, thumbs up, dig that left thumb into the outer, into the hip crease, and then wrap the outer hip away from the face as you swing the leg across the body. Check that. Does the left side of the trunk feel as long as the right side? Keep lots of length on both sides. And then swing the leg back up towards the sky. Release the foot, thread of the needle or reclined pigeon. So we got our left ankle on top of the right thigh. Grabbing a hold of that leg if that is accessible, or slide a block under the right foot. Left knee is swinging open like a book. Got one more breath here. Untangle the legs. Arms are going to come into a T on the floor. Thighs will come into the chest, and then I want you to swing your knees to the right, coming into a twist. Knees swing right. Your right hand can just rest on the top of the left thigh for a little bit if you like. Maybe turning the head to the left. Come on back through center with an exhale. Second side. Head turning to the right. With an exhale, come back through center. Plant the feet on the floor. Knees are bent, arms alongside the body. And then bend the elbows. Fingertips are pointing towards the sky. You got robot arms. Press elbows and feet into the floor, coming into bridge pose. Please keep staring at the ceiling. And then help your, hopefully the robot arms here are helping the shoulder blades slide together underneath you. That's good. And then slowly release the hips to the mat. Extend your legs long. Backs of the hands can rest on the floor on either side of the mat as we come into Shavasana, finding your relaxation pose. Wiggle your face a little bit, releasing any tension in the face. And then take a deep breath in and hold it for the count of 3. Open the mouth and sigh out. Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring in some movement to your fingers and your toes. And moving the body a little bit more until you're ready for a big morning stretch, like you just woke up for the first time. Drawing the knees into the chest slowly. Give yourself a hug. Thank you for practicing. And then rolling to one side and taking your time coming up to a comfortable seat of your choice. We'll meet with our palms together in front of our heart. Just noticing how are you? How are you doing? If you're able to cultivate any benefits from your yoga practice today, I encourage you to think of someone special in your life you want to send the benefits to. Like imagine they got to do some yoga. Maybe someone who could use a little relaxation or strength. See them clearly wherever they may be in their day. And we'll send out this kindness with an exhale. Take a big breath in, gather it up, send it out. See them smiling, feeling good. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste.